All right, so I know it's a little late, but I am here to talk about, or should I say we are here because I'm here with Matt Dennion.
Hey everybody, glad to be back.
We're here to talk about Godzilla versus Hulk, which the title is kind of is false advertising. I tried to say fragrant, I just can't say the word apparently. Flagrant false advertising. There we go.
Flagrant false advertising, no question about it. This title did not at all live up to what it was promising us. I'll say that. And you know me, I'm usually pretty much look at the positive things, but I gotta say I was kind of disappointed with the way that this whole comic shook out.
Yeah, it's not Godzilla versus Hulk. It's more like Godzilla and Hulk Brave the Bold.
Yeah. I saw a couple people suggest something along the lines of calling this Marvel Team Up might have made more sense.
Yeah, I mean, I get it's for marketing and whatnot, but there is no, I'm going to spoil this for everyone, there's no Hulk and Godzilla fight.
At all. Like, not even a single swipe. They don't so much as exchange a mean glance at each other. And, to me, it's so frustrating. I mean, even I'm not old enough to have been around in the 70s when the first Godzilla Marvel run came out, but I certainly collected the issues afterwards. And you could look in the letters pages of each issue. Fans were constantly asking, please, give us Godzilla versus the Hulk. It makes so much sense. They're both super strong. They're both created by radiation. They're both driven by anger a lot of the times. They're both have a healing factor. They're kind of like opposite sides of the same coin, maybe, or mirror images is a better term, but it never happened. And then when we got this comic announced, and even the blurb describing it was like, we're going to find out who the strongest there is. We're going to have a monster smackdown. And we didn't get that between Godzilla and the Hulk at breaking. Oh, I was so frustrated. I almost hulked out and smashed my Kindle. My wife came home from work and I just finished reading it, and she looked at me and said, "What is wrong with you?" She said. I was like, just take a look at this freaking comic. It does. Look at the title and then flip through it and see what doesn't happen.
And what bothers me is Gary Duggan's doing Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe, so this doesn't give me a lot of hype for his, Godzilla comic, his future one.
Not at all. Based on the title and the artwork for this and what we got, his Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe run might actually be more like Godzilla gingerly walks through the Marvel Universe and leaves everything intact.
Yeah. It makes me a little worried. Also, Giuseppe Camuncoli's artwork. I like Camuncoli as an artist, but here, I feel like, was it just me or is it just kind of lacking?
No, I agree with you. I think it was kind of lacking. It wasn't terrible. But yeah, it wasn't what I would hope for a comic like this. So yeah, kind of lacking a little bit too. I'm not a fan of the way he draws the Hulk's face either. It's all weird.
Yeah, I really do not like. So far, these artists have been 0-2 on Godzilla art.
Yes, yeah, and I will say I liked the Fantastic Four story. I thought it was pretty solid for like a small one done comic. Reminded me of like your classic 1960s Fantastic Four story. That I did enjoy.
And this does feel like a 70s book.
No, it definitely does. It has the feel of a 70s book. I just also feel like Dugan was kind of lazy with parts of it too. What did you think?
It really does. Like, we've brought back Dr. Demonicus. Who effing cares?
Yeah, I had problems with, I guess we're like already in the spoiler section, right?
Yeah.
Talk about it. The premise, for anybody who hasn't gotten to it yet, or if you have, you already know, it seems like General Ross has been killing monsters, not just capturing them, killing kaiju. And they reference like one or two, but that is kind of about it. And I get frustrated by the reference too, because they mentioned Fin Fang Foom. His skull is like on the front of Ross's ranch. Apparently, Tony Stark died making a Mechagodzilla at some point. Like, they do try to do some world building, but it's not. It's not long enough for them to develop it. And then, I'll give you an example if I'm talking about lazy. Is one of the things that Dr. Demonicus does when he draws Godzilla in is Unleash Hedra. And he references making Hedra out of Fin Fang Foom and the other monsters we captured. Not really telling us who the other monsters are. And in this case, like, Hedra has like an acidic touch. And if Jerry Dugan did like even a little bit of work, because I don't know how you make Hedra out of Fin Fang Foom. Like Gigan, okay, maybe that would make a little more sense in terms of like body structure. But for Hedra, like he's kind of amorphous. He's got a acidic touch. They could have at least referenced like, oh, we used Man Thing, for instance. Would have made a lot of sense.
Yeah, that would have like now. Yeah, why didn't they say like Man Thing and like bits of Man Thing?
Right, like I would have called like Man Thing and Krakoa and Glabu. Like there's plenty of like amorphous monsters you could have done. You could have even thrown in something like the Sandman. You know, since like they're just off characters in the past, for instance, or Doughboy from Captain America. You know, like there's ones you could have utilized a little more deep cut. But to me, Man Thing would have made the most sense. But it seemed like Dugan just went with who's the most famous monster kind of outside of the Hulk and Marvel. I guess Fin Fang Foom. We'll just say we made it from him, which makes zero sense.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking on that one. And also, like, I guess, like, there is no through line. I guess these aren't interconnected stories because of, like, oh, Iron Man's dead, but he's going to be an Avenger in the Avengers one. So I guess they all are one-and-done stories.
Yeah, they all seem to take place in their own separate universe, which is frustrating considering the world building that tried to be done here. So, for instance, one of the other key points of the story is General Ross keeps saying that the Hulk is dead and they have his body at the bottom of this facility. But even he kind of seems surprised when Banner turns into the Hulk. But they never tell you whose body was at the bottom of the facility that they thought was the Hulk either.
Oh, they do. Matt, they do. It's Rick.
Oh, they kind of hint that it's Rick, right? But then like full on say it was Rick, did they?
No, they said full on said it was Rick Jones, and I was like, okay, cool. Right. So Bruce Banner threw under his best friend under the bus. Cool. Okay. Cool, thanks, guys. That's brilliant writing there. And I like Jerry Duggan. I like a lot of his work, but here I'm just like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. I must have like blanked that part out of my head because I was so disappointed by the rest of the story that I was like, just when I got to the end of it. So they did say it was Rick. Yeah, there's so much of the story. They didn't even reference that like General Ross had killed Sir. Like, really? How?
Yeah. And also, like, there was an alternate cover of Jet Jaguar in here. That's a lie. He's not here.
For no damn reason. Yeah, he's not in there at all. I do not get it. That I've been trying, Tyler, when we look at crossovers to look at like what we got in the story that was promised, as opposed to say like what I think could have been done. But in this case, I think it really misses on what was promised. We got, like you said, no fight with Godzilla the Hulk, which to me is blatant false advertising. Jet Jaguar was on one of the covers. We didn't get that at all. They referenced other monsters, which we did get some, but
we got Kumanga, Hedorah, and Mothra.
And Mechagodzilla and Hedra. No other Marvel monsters appeared in it, though, which kind of sucked. So that was all kind of disappointing. And then, like, even kind of the way, like, the Hulk was portrayed, I wasn't thrilled with either, right? Like, Bruce looks like a real douche in this story.
Yeah, like I said, he faked Rick Jones being the Hulk, and they had him killed, and he's still alive? Cool. That's not Bruce.
He's also working with Ross, apparently, to hunt down other monsters.
Yeah, and working closely with Dr. Demonicus.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a Bruce thing to do. Like, I feel like Bruce would be looking for a cure, if nothing else, in the 1970s, right? Yeah,
and then we have, Dr. Demonicus returns, and like I said, who effing cares? Like, I know Dr. Demonicus was a big villain in the Marvel Godzilla, and also in West Coast Avengers, but no one cared about his return.
No, and I mean, it's sort of like grandiose. We talked about, like, there's monsters down there and stuff, and that it wasn't really the case. Even the artwork, like you said, the Mechagodzilla, because there's two, like, Showa-looking Mechagodzillas, I guess, to reference Versus and Terror of, but even they look kind of uninspired to me.
Yeah, they really do. I will say that the Onyx Black one reminds me of the Super 7 Black Onyx Mechagodzilla figure they have.
Yes, that I can see.
Yeah. I will also say that, like, I do like that at least Kevin Coley does draw Godzilla to look like Godzilla. Not looking at you, Ramita Jr. And I will give him this. He does make Godzilla look like the Mechagodzilla movie, Showa Godzilla.
Yes, he does. So, credit for those things. What did you think of, like, now 2 issues of this crossover where we get a Godzilla sort of like merging with the powers of another hero?
Yeah, because now we get Gamazilla, which that looked awful.
Yeah, it looked really bad, I thought. Basically, the Hulk uses like an AED to restart Godzilla's heart in the form of a electrical wire and gets his own blood on Godzilla, which kind of Hulkifies Godzilla, but just looks. What's the word I'm looking for? Distorted? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it looks like they were trying to make him look like he looks like a roided out Hanna-Barbera Godzilla.
Yes, that's a good description. Yes.
Yeah. And we're gonna do this again with Venomzilla. Like we're doing it like 3 times out of what appears to be the 6th, and we already know he's gonna get possessed by the Beast in Godzilla versus Thor. So.
Right, we getting Phoenix next man. Like what else are we gonna see?
Yeah, I just feel like we don't have to do this. I mean, it's cool to see it, but like, do we have to do it constantly? Did no one asked for Hulkzilla? Everyone asked for Hulk versus Godzilla. I didn't want to see a hulked out Godzilla because that makes no sense. It's just Godzilla would just absorb the radiation. That's it.
Right, it makes 0 sense, which is frustrating. The Silver Surfer one at least made a little sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that made sense. So in its own story continuity, it made sense. This one didn't make any sense at all. Why they would go that route. I mean, if anything, it would have made more sense to me to Godzillify Hulk and kind of bring him up the size, like we've seen in the Mangaverse or in the What If animated series type, something like that. Not that I really wanted to see that, but it would have made more sense.
Yeah. But I'm just kind of like, this is so off the mark for and the creative team, the story, and this is only the 2nd issue.
Yeah, this was a big misstep for one that should have been the easiest story to write. You don't need a ton of story around putting Godzilla and a Hulk together and they're going to fight each other. It's what they freaking do. It's any time the Hulk crosses paths with another character in Marvel, you got a 50-50 shot, he's going to fight with him. And I mean, the vast majority of the time Godzilla comes across another monster, he's going to fight with him. Do you know what I mean? Like, you didn't need much more of a story than, they see each other, let's beat the crap out of each other. And people would have been like, okay, it's not, crime and punishment or war and peace type thing here. But, like, yeah, that's what they would do.
Yeah. And now it makes me, like, do we know the creative team behind the Versus Spider-Man?
I'm sure we can look it up real quick. But I hope it is certainly not Jerry Dugan right this second. He is not high on my list.
Yeah. Yeah, Godzilla versus... Because I know Jason Aaron is doing versus Thor, but I forget... And Dave Walker's doing versus Avengers.
It's Joe Kelly is the writer.
Okay. Joe Kelly is writing Spider-Man right now. And he is a credible writer. So, we'll see. Okay. We'll see.
Well, listen, the Fantastic Four was pretty fun.
Yeah.
So,
Ryan North is definitely good at writing he's the current writer at Fantastic Four, and he's also really good at writing those characters. And it was very clear, even though John Romita Jr.'s artwork was balls when it came to the monsters, North kept that story true to both sides.
Yes. Yeah, it felt, like I said, like a 60s Fantastic Four story as well as a Showa-era Godzilla story, right? The Fantastic Four one.
Yeah.
I can say, so I'm not completely crapping on it, that Godzilla vs. Hulk did have that bit of a late Showa feel to it with, like, Godzilla and Hulk kind of teaming up to fight another monster, very reminiscent of, like, your versus Megalon versus Gigan versus Mechagodzilla type stories. So in that respect, that was interesting. But I think just because it so missed on what it promised us, that's why it felt so disappointing to me, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I am... it bothered... And I know if you liked it, if anyone watching this loved this this comic, that's fine.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Totally fine. It's just... This is the 2nd issue, and it's already making me go, ugh.
Yeah.
Because we came out the gate firing on all cylinders.
Right. And, like, to put it into perspective, because we've luckily had a ton of Godzilla crossovers lately, other ones seem to know what fans wanted to see and were like, yeah, we're going to give it to you. So in the crossover. In the first issue, it was like, we're getting Godzilla versus Dragonzord. Issue 2, you're getting Godzilla versus the Zords and the Megazord. It's what we wanted to see. The story was fine. It's not getting anything great, but we got like when we were kids mashing our toys together, right? That's what we kind of wanted. For the Justice League, it did the first issue was like a little bit of setup, but then we're right into it, and we get Godzilla versus Superman and versus Atom Smasher and versus Aquaman and his Kraken, like, and go down the line of cool stuff we wanted to see. So like those picked up on it even a bit more. I don't think you've read the Monster Piece Theater yet, so I won't spoil it, but it follows a similar pattern of like, hey, this is what we want to see in a crossover with these characters. To miss Godzilla fighting Hulk, it's just I do not get it.
Yeah. I mean, Devil's Advocate, that could happen in Godzilla Destroys Marvel Universe.
So that's what I saw. I tried not to be too spoily on like Facebook and just wrote false advertising when people asked me about it. So that did come up that yeah, we could get it in Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe, but I would say because it's the same person, it leads me to be concerned about it rather than build up hype for it. What do you think your response would be looking at that?
It does make me a little concerned that, this was your proving ground to show you could do a Godzilla Marvel story, Jerry, and now you've kind of hurt my expectations.
Right. I know it's formulaic for crossovers to have, like, the fight and then the team-up, but in my opinion, especially if he was doing the full Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe, this would have been the spot to have Godzilla and the Hulk fight and just do a full-on thing where they fight and basically, as we can probably soon, fight to a draw. So that later, like, it doesn't, again, appear like it's going to wrap around like you had suggested, but if we have a situation where Galactus does come down, it's like, we need the two most powerful creatures we can find to help fight off Galactus. So that would be Godzilla and the Hulk. It's a very similar dynamic to Godzilla versus Kong, right?
Yeah.
Like they had a fight, and then it was like, okay, Mechagodzilla is the bigger threat. We need these two are the most powerful creatures on the planet, team up, fight Mechagodzilla. Again, I get it's a bit formulaic, but it would have come across better, especially because the title is Godzilla x Hulk, and every cover shows Godzilla fighting the Hulk. Like,
yeah.
Sorry, I'm ranting. Go ahead.
No, it's yeah. I just don't really have anything else to say, honestly, about the book.
No, I really don't. Like I said, the fight is the big one. Not having to fight the douchey Bruce burying Rick and working with Dr. Demonicus and Thunderbolt Ross kind of sucked. Building Hedra from Fin Fang Foom when there are other Marvel monsters that would have made a lot more sense to construct him from seems just lazy to me. And like you said, the artwork was okay.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything that super stood out, right?
Yeah, nothing that made me go, oh my god, this is awesome.
Yeah. And even then, it definitely kind of killed the continuity. So you said that we can assume maybe, because we didn't get Godzilla fighting Hulk based on covers, that Iron Man is going to appear in the Avengers crossover, but at least in the storyline that the Hulk was in, it looks like Iron Man's already dead.
Yeah. So it looks like they're all self-contained stories then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I'm not actually averse to that, being self-contained stories, but they gotta deliver on what they're promising us. And this was one you could, like, I get for Godzilla versus Spider-Man, it might be more kind of Spider-Man sort of trying to mitigate damage, because what's he gonna do head on to Godzilla, right?
Yeah, especially Venomzilla, because we know it's coming.
Yeah, we know it's coming. So, which would be cool to see, and I do want to see it. But the few characters that could go toe-to-toe with Godzilla in the Marvel Universe, the Hulk is up there. I mean, even more so, as kids, even as adults. If you sit around with your friends and you talk about, like, okay, fanboying aside, which monsters could legitimately have a shot at defeating Godzilla? The Hulk would be, like, one of the monsters that certainly comes up, right?
Right.
So to miss out on that opportunity was extremely disappointing for me.
Yeah, it's it was just a kind of this was a misstep, and like again, I hope we correct course next issue.
Yes, yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
And again, I know it's different writers for each one, which is good. Because the last one we did enjoy the story for it, right? With
yeah.
the defense one. So Hopefully the Spider-Man one is solid. And then, man, I really hope that Dennion finds his footing better, though, before we get the whole event, the 5-issue event of Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah.
Because if we get more like this, it's going to be hard to read, I feel like.
Absolutely. Anyway, so there you go, guys. That's our review. Matt, thank you so much for coming on board. And I guess we can just announce this now. I mean, we were going to talk about it at some point. Matt and I are going to be getting together more often because we're not going to be talking about just monsters. We're going to be talking about sports.
Yes. Starting off with a different kind of monster, though, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the... go ahead, it's your show. You saw it.
Yeah. The title of this, at least the working title, is Sports Monsters. And basically, we will be talking about different sports. We'll be talking about, like, the Stanley Cup Finals. We'll be talking about the NFL Draft. We were going to talk about NFL free agency, but we were kind of like, the idea was already out there, and we were still like trying to work on it. It's like, how about we just officially start with the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Which is super fun. I don't know how much crossover we'll have from the Monster fans to the NHL playoff fans, but NHL playoffs are fantastic sports, and we have got some incredible first-round matchups, as you and I were discussing today. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So stay tuned for that. That will be coming out soon. I think it's Saturday, right, that they start, right?
Yes, I believe so. Starts Saturday, and you and I are both on the East Coast, so when we will talk about all the games, we'll probably focus a bit more on the Eastern Conference, just because we'll be able to access them easier. But the big matchups in the West Coast we'll talk about too, because there are quite a few like really good matchups out west, and we'll catch as many as we can.
Yeah, it's just that it's impossible for us to stay up that late and watch.
Yeah, but it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, you guys tell us in the comments below, what did you guys think of Godzilla vs. Hulk? Like it, hate it, comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.